Hello and welcome to my channel, Always Bolt the Bird, and like always, if you've been here before, welcome back. So, this is not going to be a gameplay video, obviously. This is the last video before I'm going to be streaming in the early release, or I'm sorry, the early access for Theros Beyond Death. And this is that standard, these are cards I want to play, these are the cards I'm super excited for, stuff like that. So, but before we get going, let me just throw some stuff out there. Wednesday the 15th, I will be streaming from noon Eastern Standard Time to later than that, probably around 6 or 7. I've planned for it to be like a 6-hour block, a 6-7 hour block. So, and we will be streaming the early access Theros. So we get Theros a day before. Super huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast for that. And then Thursday, we're going to be doing my normal, a new set is here. Let's open up like 150 packs and make all the decks. It's probably going to be a little bit less exciting than than previous ones because I do get them a day before, and we will probably have made all the sets, or the decks, but still going to do it because it's the normal thing. So, I believe I will be doing that from like 1 p.m. until later. Eastern. Always Eastern with me. So, and also, I usually get a lot more traffic on those days, and I'm hoping I get a lot more traffic on the early access day. So, and I usually get a couple donations. I usually get a couple of things like that. A couple of merchandise things that sell, all that. So, any donation that I get on Wednesdays and Thursdays stream, anything that sells, any donations I get, anything like that, I will be donating all the money to the Australian wildfires. I have a couple of charities that I've picked out, but not sure which one. I'll probably put up a poll which one I send it to, but I will put proof of that, or a receipt, I guess I should say, on Discord. But anything I get Wednesday and Thursday will be given to Australia. So anybody watching from Australia, stay safe is the best I can tell you. So, and just do your best to stay safe. It really sucks down there right now. So, alright, so before this video becomes a billion hours, let's start getting into it. So obviously I know that I'm definitely going to miss your favorite card, and this really isn't about what the best card is, it's about the cards that I want to play. Also, I already have a couple ideas like from Cat and World War Dragons and all that, so for like some decks and things like that. So if you have any ideas for decks, if you want to see any cards played or anything like that, either leave a comment down below or jump on one of the streams on Wednesday or Thursday. So, and I always love making like your guys' and girls' deck on like the release week, the release days. So, this one isn't even necessarily my favorite one. It's just when I was looking through Scryfall, I realized that it was in not English, so I clicked on it to see what it does. And this first one right off the bat, the only reason why it's here is just because of the translation. Phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty head. I just love how it's like, I mean, it actually seems like it might be good in a sacrifice deck, but I just love how it was phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty head. So I lost my mouse. But yeah, I just really wanted to point that out because I love it and it's hilarious. So, again, these are not the best cards. These are my cards that I want to play. So we're going to start off with some blue cards, and man, I just realized that formatting is horrible. I tried to leave space for my head, but could have made them bigger. Oh well. So, the first, like, 5 or so slides are going to be the individual colored ones. That was, like, the best way that I can really separate them for this. So, I don't know if Kiora Best's the Sea God is going to be any good, but it looks super fun. Basically, it is a saga, and I love sagas, and I'm so happy that they're back. But we get to create an 8/8 blue Kraken creature with hexproof. Then we get to tap all non-land permanents an opponent controls. They don't untap during the next untap step. And then gain control of target permanent and gain control of target permanent an opponent controls and untap it. So if they have something like a bomb and we can play this, on the second part of the saga, we're going to tap it and won't untap. So when the third one goes off, all their stuff, except for what they played on the previous turn, is still going to be tapped. And then we get to steal something. So this could be a really good end game, maybe a sideboard card. I don't know. I want to play it. It looks like we can play a blue creature deck this set as well. So like some Krakens and stuff like that. But I love creatures, and I'm not a huge fan of blue. So, but I will almost definitely be playing some type of blue, like beatdown deck almost. So then we got Nadir Kraken. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter and create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. So it seems like almost like mono white weenie tokens, kind of like blue has a ton of card draw. We can just draw cards, pump it, and make little annoying creatures that can go wide. Then we've got like the Wave Break Hippocamp. Whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn, draw a card. If anybody knows me right now, I am using Simic Flash to get to Mythic, so I think this has a spot in Simic Flash. It only costs 3 for a 2/2, and as we're casting stuff on their turn, we get to draw extra cards. So we're gonna skip Thesa's Oracle just because it's got more words, but Thesa's Intervention. So it's X blue. We're going to choose one. We're going to look at the top X cards of our library. We're going to put 2 of them into our hand, the rest on the bottom. Or we're going to counter target spell unless its controller pays X. So I think it's going to be at least a 2 of in a lot of decks. Or at least I'm putting it as 2 of in a lot of decks. Because it is a stupid amount of card draw. Or it's just a really good, like, no, I don't want you to play that Nissa on turn 7 or 8 or 9, and this is the spell that I have. So I think it's good. I'm probably gonna play it. I like card draw. So this is Thesa's Oracle. So when it enters the battlefield, we're gonna look at the top X cards of our library, where X is our devotion to blue. We're gonna put 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. I love alternate win conditions. So let's say we have 20 cards left in our deck. If our devotion is 21, we win the game. But yeah, so I super duper duper love alternate win conditions, and we're definitely going to be making a deck out of that. Alright, let's move over to red. Red is just good in general, and again, I had to cut this down because I didn't want like a billion-minute video, so I definitely didn't choose your favorite card, but I would love to hear what your favorite card or your favorite archetype and stuff like that is in the comments below. Like Tectonic Giant, this card is going to be super duper duper useful, I believe. I think we're going to see in a lot of mono red decks. Whenever it attacks or becomes the target of a spell your opponent controls, we're going to choose to either do 3 damage to each opponent, or we're going to exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them until end of your turn. Sorry, till end of next turn, you may play that card. So basically, when it attacks, right off the bat, you can have it deal 6 damage or 3 damage and get a card to play until next turn. It's basically a free lightning bolt, or almost like a free light up the stage every time it attacks or becomes the target of a spell, so that your opponent controls. Super useful. I think it's going to be a 4 of in every single mono red deck, and I'm probably going to put 4 of it in my mono red deck. Storm's Wrath for 4. It is a sorcery, but it's going to deal 4 damage to everything, including planeswalkers. So, well, each creature and each planeswalker, not players, but the planeswalker part is important, and I think that's going to be at least a sideboard card, in case you're playing against like Jeskai Fires, or like Jeskai Super Friends, Jeskai Fire Super Friends, something like that. So Furious Rise, it's going to cost you 2 and a red, and at the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you exile another card with Furious Rise. So again, it's kind of like a half light up the stage, where you're going to get 1 card, you can cast it until you get another card. I don't know how much play it's going to see. I like it. It's probably not the best card, but I'm definitely going to make a deck that has that in there. Um, I, anybody knows that I love tribal decks, and I really do want to make like a satyr deck. And in fact, if you remember, one of the places, I guess you can say, one of the things that got me a lot of subscribers was TCG Player actually featured me in the Mono White Clerics video that I did, and they had featured it because I was playing like a certain card that like tripled in price, and they like half blamed it on me. So again, super huge shout out to TCG Player. But so I want to make a satyr deck, and don't worry, the other satyrs are in here, just they're different colors. So it is going to cost you 5, so I don't know if I'm going to wind up playing this one, but it is 5 for a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 satyr token with this creature can't block, and then whenever you cast a spell that targets hero of the revel, creatures I control are going to get +1/+0. So maybe we'll see. I really do want to make a satyr deck, but so then we've got Annex Hardened in the Forge. So its power is equal to our devotion to red. So right off the bat, it starts as a 2/3 for 3. Even if we have nothing else, whenever Annex or another non-token creature you control dies, we're going to create a 1/1 satyr token with this creature can't block. If the creature had 4 or greater power. Had power 4 or greater, we're going to create 2 of those. So, again, there might be a fun little way to turn that into like a really go wide mono red weenie satyr deck, something like that. So, we'll see. But I'm excited about that card. So, let's go on to the next slide. White. White's probably going to be the thing that I play the most because I love white. So, obviously, almost everything in this deck is going to be some type of enchantment. But we got Heliod's Intervention. It's going to be X white, and just like the blue one, we're going to either destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments, or target player gains twice X life. So you do it for 5, you gain 10 life. Or they have 3 things you don't like, you destroy them. Then we got the Pilgrim. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for an aura card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So mono white enchantments might be coming. Mono white auras might be coming back. So we'll see. I like to search, and I don't like to just draw cards. I like to choose what I draw. So then we got Heliod's Punishment. So we're going to enchant creature. It enters the battlefield with 4 task counters on it. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. It loses all abilities and have tap, remove a task counter from from punishment. Then if it has no task counter, we're going to destroy it. So it might just be a cheap way to take something out of the game for a little while. But pacifism's still in the game. Pacifism might just be better. I don't know. It's a nifty card. Why not have basically more pacifisms? Again, going with the I love tribal decks. I do want to play like a cat deck. It's probably going to be Selesnya cats because you'll see in the future I really do like that white-green cat. But whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Pride, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So that's also just like the Hero of Revel, the same concept. And actually, I think all the Hero of the is going to do something like that, like +1/+0. But again, it's cats, so got to make cats, and yeah. Eidolon of Inspiration. So it's going to be an enchantment creature that's 1 white. And then at the beginning of combat, target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Again, probably not one of the best cards. Probably not one. It's not even broken at all. But it looks super just fun and kind of a white weenie deck. We're going to skip that one because, well, you'll understand. And we're going to go to Heliod Suncrowned. It's indestructible, so it's 2 and a white. It's indestructible, and as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, it's not a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control, and for 1 and a white, another creature gains lifelink until end of turn. Again, throw this in with some Johnny's Pride Mates, Hero of the Prides. All of a sudden, it's not easy to get rid of. well, anything, because you'll be gaining a lot of life. You'll be doing stuff like that. Throw it in with the intervention. All of a sudden, you gain 10 life. You put a 1/1 counter on something. Everything else procs, so on and so forth. So, but yeah, and it's indestructible. And indestructible is just absolutely horrifying to try and get rid of because you have to exile it. All right, Eidolon of Obstruction. We were talking about this in the Discord channel. I thought it made the ability cost like 1 loyalty point more type thing. So if something was -2, it would have been -3. Or if something was like a +1, it would have been a 0. But apparently, so it's going to be a 2/1 for 2 and first strike. And loyalty ability of opponents cost 1 more to activate. I was confused because it said more and loyalty abilities don't cost anything. So, but it kind of makes sense. So this might be a sideboard card, depending on what actually comes out of this deck, but it's definitely going to see play. And the idea is if somebody wants to +1, they're going to have to pay 1 mana. You get 4 of these out, they're going to have to pay 4 mana to +1 a. So it's not going to be a fun time for the other opponent. And if we're understanding this wrong, let me know in the comments, but I think that's what it is. So, all right, let's move on to black. So we got our Woe Strider. When it enters the graveyard, we're going to create a 0/1 white goat token, sacrifice another creature. We're going to scry 1. It escapes for 5, and we're going to exile 4 other cards in our graveyard. And it escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So, in general, it's a sack outlet. So if you're playing a deck where, well, obviously, if you're playing an escape deck, you want stuff to be in the graveyard, but it doesn't cost anything to sacrifice something. You sacrifice something, you scry. So it's a good way to put stuff into the graveyard. Also, when it enters the battlefield, we create a 0/1 white go token, so we have a sack thing right for it. And when it comes back as a with 2 of them. So it comes back as a 5/3. 5/4. So I'm hoping escape becomes a thing. I kind of like the mechanic. It's sort of like Dredge, but I'm hoping it becomes a mechanic, and I'm hoping it becomes good. So then we've got our Drag to the Underworld. It costs X less, where X is your devotion to black, and just destroy target creature. So we have an instant for basically black that's just destroy target creature. It's not like Cast Down, where it's non-legendary. Like, I mean, yes, I understand the cost 4 technically, but almost always it's going to cost 2. And we just have our 2 cost destroy a creature thing back. So, and I like that. Then we got, I'm going to say Timurat. Calls the Dead. So it is a Saga again. Number 1 and number 2, we're going to put the top 3 cards of our library into our graveyard. Again, good for escape. Then you may exile a creature or enchantment card from your graveyard. If we do, we create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. And then on the third one, we gain X life, scry X, where X is the number of zombies. So it might be at least a 1-of in some zombie decks, but I'm definitely going to use this in a zombie deck. And we're going to go from there. And so then we have Chosen from Death. Its toughness is equal to its devotion to black. So right off the bat, it comes out as a 2/2. Again, you're probably going to have more than just 2 on the battlefield, and it's going to have a big butt, and it's probably going to be a little bit hard to remove for at least red and stuff like that. Obviously, if you have like Drag to the Underworld, you just destroy it. But, and then for 1 and a black, we're going to exile the 2 target cards from your graveyard. We gain 1 life for each creature exiled that way. I'm liking him more as just a blocker, but in general, we'll see if he's any good, and I'm definitely wanting to play that. I love stuff that, I love Devotion, so if a card's got Devotion, I'm almost definitely going to play it. So Nightmare Shepard, it's going to be a 4/4 flyer for 4 right off the bat, which is always pretty good. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1, and it's a nightmare in addition to its other type. So we might even see like a kill everything Nightmare Tribal deck. Like, but the idea is like, let's say we have a Woe Strider out there, and it dies. We can choose to have it come back, and instead of as a 3/2, it's a 1/1, but we still have all its other abilities. And again, Woe Strider with Nightmare Shepard works pretty well because we can sack stuff and bring it back as a token. So I'm definitely going to play around with that idea of doing something like that, and we'll see where it goes. So then we got the Gray Merchant of Asphodel. When he enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. So if you're playing Commander or something like that, and your devotion to black, and it starts with 2, and your devotion to black is, let's say, 5, and you have 3 other opponents, they're each going to lose 5 life. We're going to gain 15 life. Obviously, in Standard, let's say our devotion is 5, they lose 5, we gain 5. But I think this is going to... It is a little bit expensive at 5, but it's also a 2/4, and I think this is going to see some play in, like, some life gain decks. But I definitely want to do something with it, because I love stuff where you don't know the outcome. So, alright, green. There were a ton of green cards, and I super duper had to, like, just choose, because it was getting to be a little bit too much. This video is already at 20 minutes of me just talking to you, so it will be over soon, I promise. So we got the Destiny Spinner, which is going to be a very stupid card. It is 2 and an uncommon. Creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. And then for 4, target land becomes an XX elemental with trample and haste, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It is still a land. I will definitely be making a deck out of this. I will definitely be making like a mono green enchantments, beat them down with your land type deck, but we'll see. So but yeah, that card in my eyes is this reminds me of Wilderness Reclamation, where Wilderness Reclamation is something that I felt should have been a rare, and I feel like it's a 2/3 for 2 right off the bat, and that just seems powerful to begin with. And then just add all the other things. I think it should be a rare. I have no idea why it wasn't a rare, and yeah, but I'm gonna play it. So then we got Renata Call to the Hunt. Its power this time, unlike the other one, is going to be equal to the devotion to green, and then each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. So again, for 4, it's gonna be at least a 2/3. Yeah, see, well, I mean, there's other stuff, but like, and then just as you're playing creatures, as you're dropping stuff, and we're going to see that we have a couple of things that are just going to make us way too much, and hopefully we'll be drawing cards when we do that. Like, I'm definitely putting a Beast Whisperer in a deck like this. Like, we play a creature, we draw a card. We play a creature, we draw a card. Every time it's going to have a +1/+1 counter on it. This is probably going to be one of the first cards that I play during the early access. But then we got Nylia's Intervention. We're going to choose one. It's the same thing. X green green. But we're going to search for up to X land cards, reveal them, put them onto our hand. Or we're going to deal twice X damage to each creature with flying. There's a bunch of new flyers that I love in this, and I really do want to make like Azorius Sephora flyers again. So this could be something that really makes me sad. So then we have the Nyx Bloom Ancient. It's going to be a 5/5 for 7. 4 green, green, green. Trample. If we tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. Wow. This is something that can kind of be a little bit devastating. Especially, like I said, if we get a bunch of mana dorks out there and we have a Renata out there with a Beast Whisperer and Nyx Bloom Ancient, and we just cast a card, draw a card. Cast a card, draw a card. Cast a creature, draw a card. And I'm not going to say we're not going to run out of land, but this might make something on the lines of like Elf Ball come back. It just wouldn't be elves, per se. It wouldn't be like Elf Tribal, but I'm definitely playing around with that card. So then we got the Endless Web. It's going to be a 4, so it's going to be 2 green green for a 3/5. It's got reach, because it is a spider. And whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, we're going to create a 1/2 spider creature token with reach. So, if you're playing against a stupid control deck, and every time you try to play something, if you have one of these out, if they're countering it, if they're doing that, they're just making your board wider. So, I don't know if it's going to be the best card. There's probably a better card, but I definitely want to try and make trick my opponent into killing themselves with 1/2 spiders deck. So, alright. So now, there's one more slide after this. I promise we are almost there. there weren't too many planeswalkers in this set that really like wowed me. I was way more of a fan of the gods and demigods, which it's Theros. That's what it's supposed to be about. But Ashiok, our +1's going to be create a 2/3 blue nightmare. With whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. And then -3, return a non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then that player exiles a card. Or -7, you may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponents own from exile without paying their mana cost. So basically, if we do the +1 twice, we'll have at least 1, possibly 2 of their cards already in exile. We -7, we can play up to 3 of them, which in this case would be all 2. But you get the idea. And also, I think Kaya might work pretty well with this. This could be another Kaya Usurper. The one where the ultimate is basically it deals that much damage equal to the cards in exile. So it might be worth it to try out like an Ashiok Kaya deck and just basically exile everything. Calyx, I don't know how good he is. I definitely want to play him, but we're for the +1, we're gonna look at the top 4 cards of your library. We can reveal an enchantment from them and put it on their hand. Rest on the bottom. -3, we're gonna exile a target creature or enchantment we don't control until a target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. So, if I'm not wrong, we'll choose like a card on their side and a card on our side. The card on their side goes away until the card on our side goes away. And then -7, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, enchantments are a good thing. We'll see. But I don't know how good Calyx is going to be. But I want to play him. And it's a Planeswalker. And I'm always going to play a Planeswalker. So then we got Pulachronos Unchained. It's a 4. It costs 2, a black and a green. So it's going to cost 4. And it's going to come in with 6 1/1 counters, and it escapes with 12 instead. If damage would be dealt to it while it has a 1/1 counter, prevent the damage, remove that many 1/1 counters. And for 3, it fights another creature. So essentially, we can fight anything we want. If it's got 6 counters on it, we can fight something for 4. We remove 4 counters instead. Then for another 3, we can fight something with whatever. And then so on until we basically kill it. Then for another 6, we can exile it and exile 6 other cards from your graveyard. I'm really hoping that Escape is actually turns out to be a good mechanic. We'll see. And then it comes back in with 12 counters, and we just fight them all over again. So we'll see. I love Hydras. I love creatures. I love stuff. So definitely going to be playing with this. And then we got Kun Orosz, Hound of Theros. All right. It's a 3/3 for 3. I know it's 1 white and a black, but it's a 3/3 for 3, so that's good right off the bat, in my eyes at least. Then it's got Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from their graveyard. So it shuts off Reanimators decks. It also shuts off Escape decks. So, again, if Escape winds up being a good mechanic, we're going to see this played a lot. Or at least we're going to see this played, but we'll see. Then we got Titan of Death's Hunger. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. So there's actually a whole, what do they call them? Not series of cards. Whole, we'll call them series, but I'm sure somebody's going to correct me in the comments. A whole series of cards where, like, each of the colors has this card, where basically it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it escaped. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. Then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card loses 3 life. Then it escapes. You bring it back and you do it again, and this time you have a 6/6 creature. So then we've got our god, Theros Shroud Veiled. This is one of the more expensive gods at 6, but it's indestructible as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7. It isn't a creature, but at the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return it to the battlefield under your control. So basically, every turn we get like a free creature to block with, or a free creature to sacrifice, or something like that, and it will come back. So again, we'll see. I think this works very well with like a Corpse Knight type style deck. But yeah, so we'll see. I like it. I'm going to play it. And that's it. This is the last slide. So, Haktos the Unscared, or Unscarred, I should say. I don't know how good it is. It's basically like, what was that? Like lightning ball or something like that? Or, like the creature that had to attack and then you basically sacrifice it. But, so it costs 2 blue, 2 white, and it attacks each combat if able. When it enters the battlefield, we're going to choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. So essentially, I guess in Arena, they're just going to show you whatever number it is, and they'll probably put it on the card. And it has protection from each converted mana cost other than the chosen number. So let's say, I don't know how well this card's going to work out in Standard, but I think it's a weird ability. I think it's a nifty ability, and I'm going to play it. But let's say the chosen number was 2. It means we have protection from mana cost 3 and protection from converted mana cost 4. If we choose 3, it's 2 and 4. If we choose, so the only thing I can think of is if you get 4, you're protected from Ritual of Soot, but it costs 4 anyway. So there are a bunch of cards where it's destroy target mana creature with converted mana cost 2 or less, or like, so I don't know if it's going to work out, but essentially, and it's not just the 2, 3, or 4. So like it has converted mana cost protection from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like guaranteed. And the same thing with 1. So it's a weird card. We'll see where it goes. Dream Trawler. Sorry, yeah, we are up to 30 minutes now of me just talking about cards. Dream Trawler. We're gonna get, this one's gonna cost you 6, 2 white, white, blue, blue. It is flying in lifelink for a 3/5. Whenever you draw a card, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn. Whenever it attacks, draw a card, discard a card. It gains hexproof till end of turn. Tap it. So right off the bat, it comes in with a little bit of evasion with flying and some lifelink. And it's also going to, when it's your turn, you're going to draw a card, so it becomes a 4/5. Then when it attacks, it's going to become a 5/5. And then if at any time during that, the opponent doesn't like it and tries to do something, you just discard a card as long as you have one. And you should, because you're getting at least 2 cards a turn. And it's also not even legendary, so you get 2 or 3 of these out there, you win. I mean, you don't win, but you win. Like, I think this is going to make Azorius Flyers way better, because it gives you like a really good top end that isn't just Sephora, which Sephora is an amazing card, don't get me wrong, but this is just another kind of top end card, which I always felt like they were lacking. But so then we got Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. When it enters the battlefield, this is another one, sacrifice it unless it escaped. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, we're going to gain 3 life, draw a card, and we may put a land from our hand onto the battlefield, and it's going to escape for the green, green, blue, blue. So it enters the battlefield, we throw a land onto the battlefield, and we gain 3 life. We gain 3 life, draw a card, put a land. Then when it comes back, we got a 6/6 creature as well for 4, and it's going to do the whole game life, do all that good stuff. So I want to make a Simic life gain deck this time. So we'll see. And I think that has a really good spot in there. So more kitty cats for my cat deck. It gains indestructible until end of turn for green-white, but if it happens to die, we're going to return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with enchanted creature you control has green-white, enchanted creature gains indestructible until end of turn and loses all ability. So basically, it's an indestructible 3/3 that if it ever dies, you can choose something else that can become an indestructible 3/3. An indestructible whatever it is. So I think it's a great addition to a Cats deck, and we're definitely going to be playing Selesnya Cats, and we'll go from there. Then we have Galia of the Endless Dance. It's another Satyr for my Satyr deck. It's going to be haste, so it's a 2/2 for 2 with haste. Other Satyrs you control get +1/+1 and have haste. Whenever we attack with 3 or more creatures, you may discard a card at random. If we do, draw 2 cards. I'm probably always going to choose to discard a card at random unless everything in my hand is the best thing that I ever wanted, so... but yeah, so it might be a way to get like a little bit of card draw at a slight disadvantage. It's probably not the best card ever. It is a 2/2 for 2 with haste. Yeah, it might find its way into some Gruul decks, but I want to make a Satyr deck. So then we got the last 3 cards. And again, not necessarily all the best cards I want to play. So we got the Altar of Pantheon, which our devotion to each color and each color combination of colors is increased by 1. So like our devotion to black, if we have 4, it's going to be 5. Our devotion to, let's say, black-white is 5 total. We're going to have 6, which is interesting. I think the reason why they did that is so that, like, your devotion to, like, a 2-color combination isn't +2. But, so we're going to tap it and add mana of any color. If you control a god, a demigod, or a legendary enchantment, we're going to gain a life. So, there you go. Basically, it just bumps up our devotion a little bit. And it's going to add 1 mana of any color. And basically, if we own something, which we probably do, we're going to gain a life. Then we have the Nyx Lotus. I have a feeling that the Nyx Lotus is going to wind up being a very expensive card money-wise in real life. I don't know if it's going to be so well in Standard, but I'm probably going to play it. For 4, we're going to tap and choose a color. So we don't choose... well, it enters the battlefield tap, but we don't choose a color when it enters the battlefield. We choose a color every time it taps. And then we're going to add an amount of mana, that color equal to your devotion. So, if our devotion to green is 6, we tap it, we say green, we get 6 mana. And then we got the Shadow Spear. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample and lifelink, and it also has 1, like pay 1, permanents your opponent control, lose hexproof, and indestructible until end of turn. There is a bunch of hexproof going around right now. There's some more hexproof coming back with the new set. And we'll go from there. So, I think Shadow Spear just being a 1-cost equipment, and it is a legendary artifact, like a 1-cost equipment and only costing 2 to be equipped, I think is a pretty... And it gets trample and lifelink. I think it's a pretty decent deal to begin with. But also, for the 1, we can negate a... we can, like, negate a Nissa's emblem and destroy other lands, so stuff like that. But yeah, so this is what we're going to be doing Wednesday. Like I said, Wednesday is going to be noon until 6-7 o'clock. Thursday is going to be 1 until 6-7 o'clock. There will be no video on Wednesday because we'll be streaming all day, and there probably won't be a video on Thursday because we're going to be streaming all day. And then Friday is going to start Theros videos. Friday and Saturday, but Theros videos guaranteed. I don't know what I'm doing for Wednesday and Thursday. The other thing I want to point out is that January 29th, I'm going to be mentioning this, is my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. So, I've been picking up some stuff to give away. There's probably going to be a big video on that. Super huge thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because there's a bunch of cool stuff coming up. But yeah, we're at 37 minutes, so I'm not even going to do an outro. I'm just going to say y'all have an amazing day. I'm going to see y'all back here on, well, tomorrow anyway, because it's, well, later tonight because I screwed up and this video got screwed up and unfortunately I had to post it a day late. So it is going to be here on Sunday. But, so I'll see you tonight, then we'll see you Tuesday for the stream, then Wednesday for the stream, then Thursday for the stream. But Wednesday and Thursday start Theros and I can't wait. I'm super happy and super excited to be in the early access. I know I said I wouldn't do an outro. That very much sounded like an outro, so I'm sorry for that. But no more talking. Y'all have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next live stream.